What's up, family? So tonight, Fireside Chat is all about when you fall, you get back up. Oftentimes, people are identified by their struggle. People always want to talk about how you failed. Tonight, it's not just about falling, but anytime you fall, you can always get back up. That's what we're saying tonight. If you fall, you can always get back up. I got with me one of my sons. This is Mike Watson. He has an incredible story. And tonight we're going to talk about his story, and we're going to talk about how it looked as if it was over, but it's never over till it's over.
Never.
As long as you got breath, you have the opportunity to start over again. Please hear that tonight. As long as you breathing, you can start over again. What's up, Mike?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm wonderful.
Thank you for having me on your platform.
Well, thank you for being on my platform. Thank you for being on my platform.
It's a great thing. You talking about failure is not an option.
Yeah, failure. Listen, failure is not an option. In fact, I'm gonna tell you, failure is only failure when you let it be failure. You know what I mean by that? So it's either a failure where it's final, or it's a learning opportunity.
Absolutely.
And what we want people to do, and what I try to get people to understand is, listen, it's all about how you see it. You can see it as a failure, or you can see it as a learning opportunity. And honestly, man, when you came in with your story several years ago, we turned that thing around.
We absolutely did.
We turned it around.
We absolutely did.
Because I'm gonna say this again, because I want y'all to get this. Failure is not final. And if you fall, you can always get back up. Period. Let's talk about that, man. So what does that say to you?
Well, failure says to me, I don't even use that word no more. You taught me that failure is not a word we use. Yes,
we don't say failure.
When no is not an option. So I have to find out where my yes and during my time of being with Redeeming Word and being under your tutelage, just really showed me that I have to really dig in, not give up when I get a no, to try my hardest even when I know that I have obstacles in my way that allow me to say, wait, let me stop.
Right.
And
you know why? Obstacles, you'll always have obstacles.
Yes, sir.
Obstacles are made to be distractions, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's how you look at it.
How you see it.
It's really also about who's in your village. You got to have the right people around you to push you past what it seems like is impossible.
Absolutely.
So let's just jump right into this, right?
Let's definitely jump into it.
What age did you get locked up?
First time I ever got locked up, it was juvenile. I had juvenile. I escaped from 14. I escaped from a juvenile detention center.
You escaped from juvenile detention center at 14?
It's a story I had to tell. What they did is they put me in a juvenile detention center. I was on a run from like a probation, and I ended up getting on the van and connecting myself and escaping up out of there. It's a long story, but I made it home.
14
years old.
Okay, so 14. That's the first time.
First time 14, and then 16 was the actual first time I officially got incarcerated into like county jail. My first chase was.
And I want people to understand, right? Because what society says, especially about black men, is that if you go to jail at 16, then your whole life is messed up.
Statistically, 86% actually that go to prison or spend any time more than 3 years, 86% of them return back. So it's a high rate that recidivism. What is that?
Recidivism.
Yeah, that continues to happen in that. Right. So that's something that we struggle with a lot of black men. They don't know how to stay out.
They don't know how to stay out, right?
Correct.
And I'm gonna tell it again. If you fall, you can always get back up. So,
but who's in your corner when you fall?
Well, absolutely. It matters. It matters who's on your team.
It matters who's on your team.
It matters who's on your team and whose team you're on.
Whose team you on?
Right.
Whose?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. And that matters.
Yeah.
And so when you came to me, when we met.
Yes, sir.
We met. How many years had you just done?
I did 7.
7 years.
Yes, sir.
7 years. And you were. So when you got out, how old were you?
I was 28. From 21, I turned 21, from 21 to 28.
So I met you at 28?
You met me at 28, August 2010.
That's crazy.
And I was 28, yeah.
That's crazy.
Almost 15. Actually, it'll be 15 years in August.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. Yeah.
Well, so okay, so and it looked so of course when you started and you moved to Atlanta because you made the decision.
I made a decision
to come out of that environment,
yes,
right?
Sir.
And coming out the environment meant for you changing the whole state. Yeah, I got to change the state.
Absolutely, because I didn't just change the state. I changed the state of mind I was in also.
Absolutely.
So when I came here, when you offered me my first job, actually I got one of my first jobs was through you.
Right.
And to get me employment, it allowed me to see the structure of what really men are supposed to look like.
Right.
So it was it was extremely challenging. Of course, I had to figure it out. But I mean, I didn't get the people to give up on me when I first come around. Of course, clearly I'm here.
Okay, so you just said something very powerful. You said I gave you your first job, right?
Yeah.
Because men work.
Men do.
Men have to work.
Yes, sir.
Whether it's in your own business, whether it is working for somebody, you have to develop a work ethic.
Yes, sir.
Right? And one thing I knew about you was you weren't afraid to get your hands dirty.
Oh, nah, that definitely was something that I know that as a man, you cannot strive to do anything but greatness when you got greatness on your life, and you're not going to allow me to fall short in that position.
Again, that's part of having your village
mm-hmm.
or your team.
Yeah,
you got to have people on your team who will not let you allow obstacles, distractions, quote unquote failures. And I say failures because again, a failure is only about your perspective, right?
Your perspective.
So you can't let people you can't have people on your team who will allow you to stay stuck.
Absolutely. Right? You have not. That's what you teach and you preach and teach. If you had a piece of what I want to say that you offer at the church. People take pieces of what you give all the time and they go into places and they just use the pieces, but
supposed to, because the loaf is too much. So a sermon, my sermons are so loaded that you can take a piece that speaks to you, apply to your life,
literally,
and grow.
Literally.
That's really the power of the word.
That is the power of the word.
That's the power of the word. And so here you had this crazy upbringing, right?
Crazy.
You had this crazy life.
At 16, attempt murder was my first case.
Attempted murder.
Attempt murder was my first case. And while I was on attempt murder case, I had a federal case for a federal drug indictment. Running with some heavy hitters, and I caught the indictment for the drugs, and they end up taking the drug charge away because they thought I was going to get the attempt murder. God, sure. And they took the drugs away and gave me the attempt murder. But then the attempt murder, how about the guy that got shot worked with my mom? His wife worked with my mom. And my mom was like, that's not my son that did it. And I didn't do it. And got vindication through that.
Isn't that amazing?
That was my first time. I should have stopped there, but so crazy. It ain't because you ain't never did nothing. Oh nah, it definitely ain't what I did nothing.
But it was the stuff that
associated with
absolutely. And again,
and who corner I was in at that time? I was on the corner.
Yeah. It matters who. It matters who's on your team.
It does.
It matters who's in your village.
It does
because the wrong people in your village will lead you in the wrong direction.
Absolutely,
every time.
But you have shown me perseverance through this. You talk about failure. I don't look at failure the same. I continue to strive. Here it is. I'm in year 15 here, and year 15 with you as well at the church, and just life is just changing in a drastic way.
So let's go. Let's talk about a couple of them 15 years.
Yes, sir.
So what's crazy is what we see. A lot of stuff happen organically.
Literally,
right? Happen really organically. And we couldn't have written this script no better, right? Because there were times when, listen, talk about some of them jobs at like Krispy Kreme.
Oh, all right. So when I first came, when I first arrived, I had a job at Wendy's.
Wendy's, right?
Working at Wendy's, and that was troubling. I worked for this guy named Mr. William. He passed away, God bless his soul. And he drilled me every day until I got it right. And then I ended up leaving there, going to Krispy Kreme. And when I went to Krispy Kreme, this is around the time when I tried to get back into the school system.
Mm-hmm.
I attempted earlier. They allowed me, but then they let me go.
Right.
And then I reapplied.
Right.
And I guess that's where I got to the point where things started changing for me from the type of odds and end jobs I did try to take on.
Because honestly, when you have a felony on your record,
two violent
felonies on your record, you don't really qualify for decent jobs
or living somewhere to live either.
Somewhere to live, right? But again, one thing we always say, and I want y'all to get this tonight,
yes, sir,
that failure is not fatal, and if you fall, you get back up, and how you get back up, and who's around you to be your cheerleader, be your coach,
yes,
is very, very important. And so and what I noticed about you, you took a lot of low paying, low basic jobs.
Definitely.
But you had to do that because what it did was it really transformed your mind, because you began to really work hard.
Yes,
right?
Sir.
You had to work hard. You had to do it.
I did.
And what I always knew was at some point, if you stayed with the process, it was going to work for you. It had to.
I mean, clearly it has to this point.
We ain't got to that point.
I didn't even get there. That's
the shout. That's the victory at the end.
That's the victory at the end.
But let's talk about. So I'm talking about. You had to go through the process, and what a lot of people don't like to do is go through the process, or they want to skip steps.
That's that ideal of they want the promise, but they don't want to do the process.
They don't want to do the work.
They don't want to do the work.
And that's what I want y'all to know is you got to put your work in. You got to put your time in.
Absolutely.
Are you saying cut? Oh, you got to put your time in. Got to put your work in, because that's every step builds you closer to your higher height, right? Every step takes you close, and you just can't skip steps, right? You can't skip steps, and that's one of the issues with folks trying to get this fast money. You want to skip steps, and you might get the fast money, you might get the prestige, but it don't ever last.
It's not successful.
It's not. That's not real success.
It's not real success. It's not measured on anything that has any strength. Being a believer, we measure our thing with the things of the Lord, the things that we've been blessed with. But when you try to utilize it in a different way, that's what I think the success is kind of like.
It evades you.
Yeah.
It absolutely evades you, because that's not. And so honestly, I am a pastor, and the thing I tell people all the time, you got to do it God's way. You got to do it God's way. But what the culture says is do it your way. Have it your way. It's like Burger King. Yeah. Have it your way. But I want y'all to know that's not how life works. That's not how life works. And you need to be able, now we outside, you see that bug? It just flew in the fire.
And died.
It died. It died because you're so dumb.
It just dumb.
He was so drawn by the
intoxication.
He was intoxicated by the fire. And it killed you.
And it took you right away.
It'll kill you.
And that's something you taught too. But we
I'm gonna tell you what I taught. One of the things I should tell you is don't get intoxicated by this Atlanta peach juice.
Because it'll get you every time.
This Atlanta peach juice will get you every time. So let me pause from this story and talk to some of y'all that want to come to Atlanta and get brand new. Atlanta is not for the faint at heart.
It's not.
It's not. Listen, you can't come here and think you're gonna be wonderful, because Atlanta eats its children.
Humbling.
It's very humbling.
Very humbling.
It's very humbling. It's very humbling. And so you got to have a plan when you come here. If you don't have a good plan, you at least got to have some people around you that can help you navigate what you got going on.
Absolutely.
Because did you have a plan when you first came to Atlanta?
I had a sense of a plan, but I didn't have any connection to anybody to establish the plan. So it was really, I went out on a limb. I had my sister here originally, but small amount, maybe 2 family members, my sister and her husband.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Sister and my husband. So now I got a whole.
Now you got a whole family.
Yeah, I do have.
We are your family.
I'm about to say,
don't act like you don't know.
Yeah. So
we
I got
family.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, and then what's crazy is, so let's talk about. I want to talk about that. when you walked into my church, because I needed a drummer.
Yeah, at the time.
And you look like what you've been through.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it was but nothing but love.
Oh yeah, how many pounds were you then?
Okay, back at you. Like how many pounds was you then?
I was skinny.
Yeah, I was skinny too.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but this is success.
Yeah, I love the success.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
Okay. So you came in, and I think that first Sunday I told you stand with me.
Literally, I went. That's exactly how I remember it. I came into the service, went and played the drums, and you called me back in the office. You was like, "Where you working? No, you working here." And
right.
that was final. And that was August 2010.
That is crazy, bro.
August 2010.
And so, one of the things I kept wanting you to hear is failure is not final.
You drilled that in me so much to the point where I really walk in that today.
Yeah. And no is not an option.
No is definitely not an option.
So when they tell you no, you ask the question, well, is there somebody else that can help me?
Absolutely.
And if they say no, it's not, then hang up, call back tomorrow.
Try again.
Talk to somebody else.
Because somebody's going to give you that
Somebody's
answer.
going to help
Somebody got to help you.
Because no is not an option.
No is not an option. If I would have gave up on the no, I would have not stayed here too long.
Yeah. If you let no stop you, if you let no stop you, it's going to always stop you.
Yeah, it will always stop you.
It's going to always stop because it's always going to be somebody telling you no.
Correct.
And so, but when you know it's something that's for you, when it's your dream, when it's your passion, when you're trying to build, we can't accept no.
No is not an option.
It's not an option. It's never an option. And so, and that's one thing I tell men all the time, brothers got to do is I learn how to figure stuff out. Because honestly, so a couple things I say about that. Sometimes when you don't have a strong male figure in your life, right? Women treat men differently.
I got bit by something that just going down my shirt.
Oh,
Jesus!
There he go. He's such a hypochondriac. Can't nothing get down.
I'm so serious. I told you.
Probably line. Ain't nothing flow out your shirt, but that's gonna help you.
I'm telling you, it was on my shoulder. I felt it biting. That's why I stopped. Talking about.
That's that body butter you done put on. That's drawing all these bugs to you.
And you know what? You might be absolutely right, because it ain't that shea moisture.
Did you spray you some oil?
I put it on.
All right.
Wow.
You don't let failure stop you.
Yes, sir.
No, it's not an option. Oh, and I know what I was saying. So I was saying that, men have to hit their head. What makes a man a good man is when he figures it out and he has success. But the problem with it is oftentimes what happens is women who are naturally nurturing, most women who are naturally nurturing, not all of them, but a lot of them are naturally nurturing, they try to help you along, right? And we thank God for the help, but sometimes you have to let men figure life out. Let them hit their head, let them struggle. It's like the butterfly and the caterpillar and the butterfly. If you open the cocoon too early for a caterpillar, he'll never be a strong butterfly.
He never will.
Right? The whole point of him coming out of the cocoon is so his wings can be strengthened. And so your struggle helps build your wings so you can fly, because you are meant to fly.
Yes, sir.
You were absolutely meant to fly. I'm talking to somebody's watching me right now.
Yes.
You absolutely are meant to fly, but you are trying to avoid the struggle. And you cannot avoid the struggle. You got to go through the struggle. Yeah. Now, and some struggles you wouldn't have to go through. Here you go. Here's my point. If you listen. And one thing you did most of the time.
Oh, okay. I'll take that.
Was listen.
I have.
Yeah, but I get it. When you have a alpha personality,
yes, sir,
sometimes it's hard to listen. And so you'll have to hit your head because you're alpha.
Yes, sir.
And that's what helps develop the alpha in you, because you didn't hit your head enough. But some things, I'm telling you, you would have to have gone through had you just listened.
Yes, sir.
You know?
Oh, you make that clear. A lot of decisions that I make, sometimes I have to look back at, what is it that pastor gonna say to me about this?
Sure.
And it makes me, now actually it allows me to really think, all right, is God centered to this, or is it just me? Because when I think of you, I think about what is it that he's going to talk about? Is this principle based, or is this aligned? And making sure that I'm not doing it out of my own will. And I know what it feels like to be in my own will, and I don't want to be in my own way anymore.
So let's talk about that. Yeah. So is this God? Is God sending this? Sometimes when you don't know the voice of God, you all listen to the voice of your pastor, your spiritual leader, your mentor, those people God put in your life to help guide you on your journey.
Yes,
right? Sir. And one thing I've learned is I didn't have a lot of folk helping me on my journey. Not like I really wanted or necessarily needed. So I really hit my head a lot. So one thing I tried to do is be that person to walk with you on your journey.
You absolutely have.
So I know I have, on purpose,
yes,
right?
Sir.
On purpose. So that, when you were ready, you listen, right? Because that's what I wanted.
You did.
That's what I wanted for me. So I try to do that to other people. That's the whole point of this fireside chat.
Fireside chat.
Because we've had a whole lot of chats.
Yes, sir.
By the fire.
By the fire.
Whether it's the fire of the barbecue grill, fire by the stove.
I'm about to say, or some of these life fires.
Life fires.
Life fires.
Because life will set you on fire.
It will set you on fire, especially in Atlanta.
Especially in Atlanta.
Yes,
I've been trying to tell people Atlanta ain't easy.
Nah, it ain't for the faint.
It ain't for the faint.
You gotta be tough, you gotta be strong, and you need to be connected with the right people with the right vision, or you're gonna perish.
You gotta have the right village.
You gotta have it.
Gotta have the right village. That's so important.
Yeah, the village mentality has been, I wanna say the village mentality is what kept me throughout this whole struggle.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Because when you have the right village, they love you in spite of.
That's it.
They love you in spite of, and they only want the good for you. That's what it is. And so when you are struggling, they're rooting for you, and they're working to get you in a position where all you do is win.
All you do is win.
So let's talk about that.
Let's go.
Let's talk about your wins.
Let's go.
Because so you wanted to work in the school system.
Yeah, I had a desire to work in the school system, and in order to work in the school system in Georgia, you must be certified.
Right.
And I had aspirations of working in the school system. So mind you not, I have 2 violent felonies.
Right.
You're not supposed to be in the school system.
You're not supposed to be in the school
at
system.
all. I went through the courts. Initially, they let me in. I did that short stint with one school system for about 90 days.
Right,
they let me go because of my record.
Right.
That was 2011. And then I revisited in 2013, I believe, to try, and they told me that I need to get the certification. That's what made me go through the certification. And they told me no. And when they told me no, I
And what did we say?
No, it's not an option.
Right.
So I need to talk to somebody else.
I'll talk to somebody else.
I took it from against going to the state of Georgia. So I think I think I go to the highest court was the state. I went to the state, and I appealed it, right. And I represented myself when you thought I was crazy.
I did.
I represented myself.
Because I'm saying to you, man, we don't know nothing about talking this court talk.
Yeah.
But what did you do?
I actually
who'd you talk to?
I went and spoke to an attorney.
You talked to an attorney.
I talked to an attorney, got some great advice on what to do and how to handle it and how to ask the right questions.
And look what the attorney did. The attorney said, you can't afford.
I couldn't afford them.
My representation. Well, I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do for you. I'm gonna tell you everything to say.
Everything to say. He told me everything to say to verbatim, to the point where they thought I was a lawyer because they wondered how I got these words. I'm asking these right questions.
I was sitting there thinking, how do you know to say this stuff?
I knew exactly what to say, and we had a female judge at the time, right. Defense attorney. They were very, very thorough. They were thorough. They were questioned. It was court. And they bring their representation. I bring my representation. The questionings went forth. And then finally it was almost time to end. And I said, let me represent myself. and I got up on the stand and gave my story to the judge. Very passionate, and I want to say after we left the court, I'll say about 18 months later, maybe a little year or so, they went through the process and granted me the opportunity to work.
Granted you the opportunity, but you didn't tell the part that I testified for you.
Oh, okay. So the part where the testimony when they were asking character witness.
Character witness.
Yeah, character witness. And at the time when I had to run down on you and act like I was a lawyer, how did you feel about that?
I was embarrassed because I didn't know how you knew those questions. But the beautiful thing about that is when the Lord is on your side, man,
that part,
He will cause people to give you favor. That was nothing but favor for that attorney, to give you what to say.
Absolutely.
That was nothing but the favor. But that's what happens when you do it the right way. God will put people in your path and in your life to help you along the way. But you got to listen.
Absolutely.
And that's what you did. You listened.
I absolutely did listen.
You listen to the attorney. Listen to other guys who were right there rooting for you. Mm-hmm. And we all testified. And when the dust settled, the smoke cleared, you got what you needed to have.
I absolutely got what I needed.
You achieved it.
I did.
And now you moved on from that to doing your own business.
Absolutely.
You got your own nonprofit and for-profit, right?
Nonprofit and for-profit.
Yeah, that's what's amazing. Yes, I know y'all see us scratching just because we outside, and
it's nature. We in nature.
We in nature. But and so we got all these Centranella's pad. But I think I just got bit on my neck too. But it's all good.
It's all good
because this is what the Fireside Chat is all about.
All right, let the fire burn it away.
Let the fire burn it away. Something like that.
Something like that
for sure.
Yeah.
So man, listen. Man, I'm very proud of you. I'm excited about this next journey for you. Mm-hmm. All I say is, man, you got to listen. You never stop learning, and you never stop listening. And with the right people in your life, and sometimes you are the mentee or the mentor. Your mentors can never stop growing.
Never.
You can't never stop reading.
Never stop reading.
And you have to always pay attention.
Absolutely.
You gotta always pay attention. I'm excited, man, for this next place in your life.
I'm excited as well.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for you as well. I'm excited for your new platform.
Yeah, well, we're creating a new platform.
Yeah, absolutely. Redeeming Word TV.
It's Redeeming Word TV. I'll take it.
RWC TV.
RWC TV.
Our what's it? Our Raymond RWR, what's that?
Raymond Wesley Randall.
No, not that part, but we RWR Ministries.
Ministries, for
sure.
Yeah,
RWR Ministries. So we can push that initiative.
We're going to push that.
But I appreciate
that's what this is tonight. Part of that. That's what these Fireside Chats are.
Fireside. I look forward to the more.
Absolutely.
I'm thinking of being number one.
You only got one time to be first.
You got only one time to be number one.
You only got one time to be first.
You only got one time to be first.
So there you go.
All right.
Thank you, man.
Love you more.
All right.